I'm going to share 10 AI automations that save me 8 hours every single freaking day. And I think it could do the same for you if you implement them. A lot of the times people get stuck. They don't have the money to hire people, don't have the time to do the work. These workflows will win back tons of your time. They're all going to be free down below. Let's get into this right now. Let's start with a universal one, which is automating the Gmail inbox. So this is my inbox here. We got 71 incoming emails. Now, just like 3 months ago, I would be embarrassed to show you this because my inbox was absolutely disgusting. There's like 20,000 emails in here. And if you were like me 3 months ago, maybe you're in that same position too. And so with a workflow like this can automate most of your inbox. And so there's just so many things that it can do here. Now, let's just break this down. We're classifying emails as they come in, and then we're tagging them into like a different label here. So you can see all of these different labels that I'm adding on here automatically. The cool thing is that you can delete all the junk. So all of those promotional emails, all of those emails that you don't care about, people selling you stuff, all of that kind of stuff, as well as those e-commerce emails you got on your birthday saying, hey, do you want to spend money you probably shouldn't spend on products you probably don't need? All of those can be deleted as well. And so that's pretty cool. You can automatically create drafts or reply to people. You can automatically forward emails. One of my favorite things to do is forward off invoices to my accountant for them to put into the bookkeeping cycle. All of that kind of stuff can be automated. You can also forward off stuff to your sales team or customer service team or whatever the case may be. All of that kind of stuff can be done. And so for that reason, I put 15 minutes here. I think that's pretty conservative. Like this already could probably save me easily 15 minutes, but maybe even 30. And so I just wanted to be hyper conservative there. The next thing is analytics. This is one of those boring automations that most people don't pay too much attention to, but it is one of the biggest game changers. And it's often something that you don't start by creating at the beginning of a business, but something you absolutely need at the end of a business. And so the reason I say that is because if you don't have analytics driving your decision making, or at least pointing you in the right direction so you can see, your business for what it is, you're kind of shooting blind. It's like throwing a dart at a dartboard and you're blindfolded and you don't know where you're shooting. And so with something like this, you can have pinpoint accuracy as to what's working, what's not, so you can double and triple down on the things that are working and cut the things that aren't. There's very few things that are more expensive, for instance, than a bad sales rep. And there's very few things that are more expensive than a bad Google Ads campaign or Facebook Ads campaign. And with stuff like this, you can track all of those metrics down to the cent on the cost of acquiring customers or whatever other metric you want. So we have our sales reps here. For instance, we can track the leads they have, how long it takes them to call new leads as they come in, how many quotes they send, contracts signed, deposits paid, revenue generated, conversion rates, all that kind of stuff. And we can graph this out so that we can see how people are doing over time. And this is all in real time. Again, all of this stuff is going to be free down below to download as well if you guys are interested in. And for this, I just conservatively put 30 minutes a day. To be honest with you, this would probably take me like 5 or 6 hours if I was to do this by myself with the team that I had. But I wouldn't even know where to start. It's just something you'd sweep under the rug because I just wouldn't have enough time to even do this kind of stuff in the first place. The next thing is, again, a bit later in the game, and we're going to circle back to more, things that you'd implement earlier in your business after this one, but this is all about recruitment. And so you can automate the entire process of people applying for positions. So take Indeed, for example. People are applying for jobs that you post. You can automate the entire life cycle of recruitment in a Google Sheet like this. You can see just how many people we're getting, tens of thousands of people. I definitely would not want to be on the hook for having to reach out to all these people, and I'm sure you wouldn't either. With a system like this, you can automate the whole process. So let's kind of walk through how this works. Somebody applies on Indeed, they get automatically listed on this Google Sheet, and then the first thing is we ask more information, like, hey, send me your resume, or send me additional questions, qualifying questions. If they pass, then we'll ask them to do a test. If you're a social media manager, write me some social media posts. If you're a blog writer, write me a blog post. If you pass that test, then we'll schedule a couple interviews. How are you? Even send off a contract, and all of this kind of stuff. These back and forth emails, scheduling appointments, sending off contracts. cataloging this in a Google Sheet, all that kind of stuff can be 100% automated using N8N and a workflow like this. I put 30 minutes for this, but again, if you're like hiring a lot of people or just dealing with a lot of potential candidates, that is a huge time sink as well. So I think that's probably pretty realistic. So that's 30 minutes in the 8 hours that I shaved off there. The next thing is dealing with new leads. So specifically, if you have a service-based business and the lifeblood of your business is likely going to be lead generation, when somebody fills out a form down here and they inquire about your services, the first thing that you probably want to do is, first of all, call that person, text that person, email them at some cadence over the next couple days, weeks, or months to get them to hopefully convert into a paying customer. And so with that being said, you have to send out these texts and emails. And the thing is you might get like 5 leads a day, but if you compound that over 30 days, that's 150 leads that you could potentially be juggling at any given time. It could be a lot less, could be a lot more if you have a high churn rate. You get the point. But essentially, all of that is mental bandwidth that you have to pay attention to and reach out to. The average sale takes 8 touch points. If you're not doing this stuff, you're letting people slip through the cracks. And so all this kind of stuff takes a lot of time. I put, again, 30 minutes for this, but it's probably a lot more than that every single day. And so this is kind of what that workflow looks like. Lead comes in, and this is using Go High Level. They submit a form here, and once they submit that form, and again, that form is something like this, they're going to receive text messages and emails, and this is all automatically generated. We can even call them programmatically, and this, in a nutshell, I hope my face isn't blocking that, this is what that text message looks like. We could take a step further and use an AI chatbot, which would be able to communicate back and forth with these people. So if they ask questions like, hey, what company is this? The chatbot would be able to automatically respond to people. And this is really nice too, because typically when people inquire with your business, they want a response now. They don't want a response in 2 days from now. If they inquire on Friday night and you don't reply till Monday morning, you're probably going to lose the deal. 50% of all sales goes to the person that calls first. So you want to book appointments quickly. You want to jump on calls quickly. This is going to lead to more sales. And this is also less work that you have to do. So I would say 30 minutes for all of these systems. But again, this is probably a lot more than that. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about here is, and this is like the RAG system here that we're using N8N in the back end to be able to communicate back and forth. RAG system stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. In a nutshell, what that means is that it's like, you can think about it like a very smart employee that's trained on every single thing about your company, every potential website page, every form of communication, every contract, every invoice, all of your standard operating procedures, and it just retains that information, is able to respond to people intelligently based on the history of your entire company, every piece of information on your company. Now, the next thing that I want to go over here is scraping sites like YouTube or like Instagram or like TikTok to find viral content ideas. And so this is exactly what it does. We're using a platform called Appify, and you can get started for free. And if we just take a look at the web scraping opportunities here, and you don't need to know a line of code to do this, we can scrape tons of places like Apollo, which is a lead generation site, Instagram, TikTok, and let's take a look at a couple others, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all of these kind of sites you could scrape, and then you could find viral ideas. You could rate them using ChatGPT or score them and be like, hey, out of 5, what would you rate this? And if it's a 1 to 3, you disregard it. Or if it's a 4 to 5, you add it into your content library here. You could even score the virality to see, hey, which one should I be, which one should I be drawing inspiration from, and then creating content based on that. I think the best way to create content that's going to be successful with the highest likelihood of it actually turning out well is just finding what works out there and being able to draw inspiration from that and create something similar. I mean, that's just a surefire way. It's worked once, it'll likely work twice. Cool. The next thing that I want to go over here is, and by the way, that viral content idea generator, probably 30 minutes. I mean, this is just pulling in hundreds or thousands of ideas. If you were to go out there and do this research yourself, I would say that it would take you hours and hours and hours to find that much content to be able to sift through. And so I think that saves a ton of time. The next thing here is this PandaDoc agreement generator. So what this workflow using Make.com does is it generates contracts and invoices just like this. Now, this takes approximately 30 minutes every single time. I put this as approximately 1.5 hours every single day. That is a lot of time, you might be thinking, but the reality is that I absolutely hate doing invoices and contracts, and I'm sure that any sales rep and every sales rep I've talked to also hates doing this. Nobody really likes doing this admin kind of work that I've come across, at least. And so, first time you could pump it out in 10 minutes, third time, like 100th time, maybe 20 minutes, the 1,000th time, you're like, I just want to kill myself. I hate doing this. And it goes up to like 30 minutes. And yeah, you just spend most of the time procrastinating. And so with something like this, 30 hour and a half every single day, if you take 3 sales calls. And in a nutshell, how this works is you get off the sales call, you have a form that you're filling in information on the client. That information is then transferred into this contract here, like things like the start date or the end date or the time or the whatever, all this kind of information here. This is all just kind of sample data, but you get the point. The next thing that I want to talk about that probably saves me the most time and could be the biggest time saver for you is cold email and LinkedIn outreach. And so how a system like this works inside NNN. And I'm going to be linking, I don't have a publicly available video on this particular blueprint, so I'm going to link something very similar to this that can get the ball rolling in Make.com. But essentially what this does is it will web scrape places like Apollo. Apollo, as you can see in this image here, gives you tons of different leads. And these leads can be CEOs, they can be CFOs, they can be whatever type of person it is that you're targeting. And so once you get this data, you can plug it straight into a cold email outreach platform like Instantly or a platform like Phantom Buster, which essentially allows you to message people via LinkedIn. And so you can just automatically connect and do follow-up messages straight through Phantom Buster. And this particular workflow automates all of these pieces together. It helps find the leads and then message them on LinkedIn and via cold email outreach. And so if you were to find these leads and then plug them in and email them and send them DMs on LinkedIn, at least 2 hours a day, I would say. If you're doing like 20 to 50 every single day, like 20 LinkedIn messages and then like up to 50 cold emails, yeah, at least probably 2 hours on the conservative side. And so that's what I put for this particular workflow here. Now, moving on past that, I want to talk about 2 other workflows that I wanted to save to the end, which are essentially onboarding and project management. They're 2 in the same, I guess. And I guess we have one more after this. But essentially, when you close a deal, client pays and signs, one of the best ways to save time is to automate the onboarding process of bringing that client on board. And typically speaking, at least for all the businesses that I've ran, you need to have an intake form. It's great that you close the deal, but you need more information regarding that client to be able to set yourself up for success and do a fantastic job. And so I built out, and this is using Next.js, this is custom code. I built out this planning form here, and we will ask clients tons of questions. This is one for my wedding DJ business and photography and videography business. We'd ask them tons of questions. And so in a conventional business, a lot of people would call these people or sit down for coffee and they'd go through all these questions. But that could take you like 2-3 hours of time to, commute out there, have chit chat, buy a coffee, sit down, talk about all different things. And then also actually fill these out and ask the questions. Whereas all of that can be avoided. You can just send it off and then you can get them to fill it out. The best part is that using something, using like a platform like, I don't know, Go High Level, and you can use whatever CRM you want. You could automate the follow-up so that, if you send this out and they don't fill it out, which almost nobody fills out an onboarding form the first time you send it, you can follow up days, weeks, and months afterwards until they actually go ahead and complete the planning form. And so this is something that I put down is 30 minutes every single day. The reason I put down 30 minutes every single day is because in this business, we close at least one deal at a minimum every single day. And this would probably take me 30 minutes if I had to jump on a call and do this with a client. Now, one of the next ones that I want to talk about is in tandem with this, when you actually close that deal, you need to stay organized. You need to stay on top of things. And if you don't, things are going to be swept under the rug. You're going to get problems, client complaints, and nobody wants any of that kind of stuff. And so with something like ClickUp, what you can do is you can automatically create project files for your clients. You can assign it to your team members. You can assign the task. You can assign the due date, priority, status, and all that kind of stuff, so that you have a very good view of everything that needs to happen, when it needs to be completed by. That means that nothing is going to be swept under the rug. And as long as you accomplish all of the tasks set out in front of you, then you should hopefully, do a really good job for your client. And so this just means that everything's organized. You're always on top of things. And I can't tell you how big of a deal and quality of life improvement a system like this is to have. You just don't have to have those like moments where you wake up in like a panic attack at 3 a.m. in the morning being like, oh my God, did I send off that email, or did I do this, or did I do that? This is just going to take care of things for you well in advance, that you can live way more stress free. And the last thing that I want to talk about here saves me approximately 1 hour every single day. And that is the generation of blog posts such as this. So you can generate these blog posts using artificial intelligence. And so typically I wrote down an hour for this. But the reality is that if you were to do this without AI, it would probably take you 4 hours to do one of these blog posts. If you were to do it with AI, probably 15 minutes to write the blog post, 15 minutes to kind of do everything else. So it could be between 30 to 60 minutes. It really just depends on how fast you are. And again, if you're doing this every single day, you're probably going to want to kill yourself after doing it for like a couple months, and you're going to slow down. But essentially you can do everything from internal linking, external linking. You can create the URL up top here, the meta title, meta description. That's what shows up on Google. So if we were to open up the Google developer console here and we were to take a look, we can see like, hey, here's the title of the website, and we have the description down here. And so all of that kind of stuff, this is the description people see when they find this page on Google. All of this kind of stuff can be automated. The images can be automated. Everything can be automated. The style is the most difficult thing, but it also can be automated as well. And so in this blueprint that I'm going to share with you, I don't share how to automatically generate the style and not all of this kind of stuff, but I'll give you a blueprint that you can use to get most of the way there. And just to follow up on this, because I said it was 30 to 60 minutes, the other portion of this is that once you actually publish that blog post, you could then take that exact blog post and you can syndicate it across all of your social media platforms. So this could take you another 30 minutes. So an hour I allocated to both the blog generation and also syndicating it across all your social media platforms. So when that blog post is generated, you could automatically publish it to Facebook, Instagram, X, Tumblr, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Medium, and whatever other platform it is that you're using. And so that in a nutshell is 10 automations that I have been using religiously to save so much time. This is just a sample of the automations I use. These happen to probably be the most heavy hitters, but ultimately speaking, this is probably just a subset of all of the time that I'm saving. It might not even be half or a quarter. And a lot of this stuff, not all of it, but a lot of it does scale with the more employees that you hire. So you could be seeing way more time savings throughout your journey as a business owner or throughout working, if you can leverage other people's time and allow them to leverage these systems too. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It always blows me away that only like 20% of the people that actually watch this content subscribe, and the other 80% of the people that watch this content do not subscribe. So if you found value, if you're going to download the blueprints, it would help me out tremendously if you could hit that subscribe button. That means that you'll be staying tuned for the other videos I release. And I'm sure if you like this one, you'll like those ones as well. And finally, if you guys want to learn more about AI automation, highly recommend taking a look at my school community here. There's really two objectives of this group. Number one is to help people automate up to 80% or more of their business. I just give you the exact blueprints and templates that I use to automate my entire business and just essentially remove myself from actually having to be really running the business. And the second objective here is to help people create AI automation agencies. I just give you the exact roadmap that's worked for me. So thank you guys very much for watching it. Hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, and bye-bye.